Hello, everyone. Welcome to our English learning channel. Here, you will listen to simple English sentences many times. This will help you remember and use them naturally. Don't worry if you don't understand everything at first. Just relax, listen, and repeat. With practice, your English will get better and better. Let's enjoy learning together. My first day of high school. Today was a very special day for me. It was my first day of high school. I was both excited and a little bit nervous. Last night, I could not sleep well, because I kept thinking about what would happen today. Would I make new friends? Would I like my teachers? I had so many questions in my head. Morning. In the morning, my alarm rang at 6 a.m. I usually wake up at 7 a.m., but today I wanted to be ready early. I quickly got out of bed and put on my new school uniform. The uniform was a bit uncomfortable at first, because I was not used to wearing it. I looked in the mirror and thought, wow, I really look like a high school student now. After getting dressed, I went to the kitchen to have breakfast. My mom made me my favorite breakfast, pancakes with syrup. As I was eating, she smiled at me and said, "You're going to do great today, John. Don't worry." Her words made me feel better, but I was still a little nervous. After breakfast, my dad drove me to school. During the car ride, I kept looking out the window, thinking about what was going to happen. When we arrived at the school, I saw many students wearing the same uniform as me. Some of them looked nervous too, and that made me feel a bit better. I said goodbye to my dad, and he told me to have a good day. I waved and entered the school. At school. The school building was very big. There were so many students walking around, talking with each other. I felt a little lost, but I had a map of the school that I got in the mail a few days ago. I checked the map and found where my classroom was. When I entered my classroom, I saw about 20 other students. Some were talking to each other, and others were sitting quietly. I found an empty seat near the back of the room and sat down. A few minutes later, our homeroom teacher, Ms. Brown, walked in. She looked very kind and smiled at us. She said, "Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your first day of high school." Ms. Brown told us a little bit about what to expect in high school. She said that we would have new subjects, new teachers, and new experiences. She also told us that it's okay to feel nervous, because everyone feels that way on their first day. Her words made me feel a little better. After that, we all introduced ourselves. When it was my turn, I stood up and said, "Hi, my name is John. I like playing soccer and video games." Some of the other boys smiled when I said I liked soccer, and I hoped I could play with them sometime. My classes. After homeroom, we went to our first class. My first class was English. Our teacher, Mr. Smith, was very energetic and funny. He asked us what books we liked to read. I said I liked adventure stories, and he said, "That's great. We'll be reading some interesting stories this year." I felt like I would enjoy English class. Next, I had math class. I was a bit worried about math because it's not my best subject. Our teacher, Ms. Lee, gave us some problems to solve, and I found them a bit difficult. But she was very patient and helped us when we didn't understand. I think I will need to work hard in math this year, but I'm ready to try my best. At lunchtime, I didn't know where to sit. The cafeteria was full of students, and I felt a little shy. But then I saw a boy from my English class sitting alone. I walked over to him and asked if I could sit with him. He smiled and said, "Sure." His name was Tom, and we talked about video games while we ate. It felt good to make a new friend on the first day. Afternoon. In the afternoon, I had science and history classes. I really liked science because we did a fun experiment. We learned about different types of rocks and got to touch them. It was interesting, and the teacher, Mr. Johnson, said we would do many more experiments this year. History was also interesting. We talked about ancient Egypt and the pyramids. Our teacher showed us pictures, and I was amazed by how big and old the pyramids are. End of the day. After all the classes, we went back to our homeroom. Ms. Brown asked us how our day went. Some students said they enjoyed it, and others said they were a little tired. I felt both. It was a fun day, but it was also a long day. Ms. Brown reminded us to check our homework and bring the right books for tomorrow. When school was over, I walked outside and saw my dad waiting for me in the car. I got in, and he asked, "How was your first day?" I told him about my classes, my new friend Tom, and the fun experiment we did in science. He smiled and said, "Sounds like a great start." Evening. When I got home, I changed out of my uniform and relaxed for a while. I played some video games and then had dinner with my family. At dinner, my mom and dad asked me more about my day, and I told them everything. They were happy to hear that I had a good time. Before going to bed, I checked my homework. I didn't have much, just a little reading for English class and some math problems to review. I did my homework and then went to bed. I was tired, but I felt proud of myself. My first day of high school was over, and I felt like I could handle it. I know high school will be challenging, but I'm ready for it. I want to learn new things, make more friends, and enjoy my time here. Today was just the beginning, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. Thank you for listening.